Today is February 9th, and this is the mayor and council meeting. We're going to start with our work session.
It's February 23rd.
It is February 23rd.
Time flies.
Do not try to make us go back.
What happens when you read? 7:30 p.m. And this is our work session of the mayor and council meeting. Linda, can you please read the Open Publics Meeting Act and take a roll call, please?
Sure. In compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act, the notice requirements have been satisfied. The meeting dates for the year are confirmed at the annual meeting, are posted on the public bulletin board in the municipal building and on the borough website, published in the record within the first 10 days of the new year, and copies are sent to the Ridgewood News and Star Ledger. Notice of this meeting by the February 13th, 2023 Sunshine Notice was sent to the record, the Ridgewood News and Star Ledger, and has been posted on the public bulletin board in the municipal building and borough website. Councilwoman Homan,
Yes, here.
Councilwoman Lovasolo,
Here.
Councilman O'Connell,
Here.
Councilman O'Toole,
Here.
Councilman Yacarino,
Here.
Councilman Delavatio,
Here.
Mayor Wilzinski.
Here. Now is the opportunity for public comment. If there's anybody from the public that would like to come up and speak, please come up and state your name and address. Not seeing anybody. We're going to talk about the admin piece of the meeting and have our agenda review. We have a light agenda today, our approval of minutes, and we have our second reading and our public hearing of ordinance 23-02, which is the ordinance to amend and supplement chapter 26 of the Borough Code. Matt, did you want to speak on that?
Yeah, as I mentioned at the last meeting, it is an amendment that will bring our officers more in line with what other departments are making for outside overtime. There's also a small provision in there for the borough to charge an administrative fee, and it does not apply to any borough jobs or nonprofits.
Perfect, thank you. Next, we have resolution 23-95. It's a resolution authorizing the economic defeasance and refunding of borough funds regarding the Allendale sale of the water department. Liz, would you like to comment?
Sure. So this, to me, is actually a reason we should all be cheering tonight.
Yeah.
As we talked about with the sale of the water system, several things, drove us to start considering what we should do with the water system, that being the emergence of these PFAS contaminants that have been prevalent across the country. And upon research, it clearly illustrated that this would be an incredibly expensive process to be able to manage that, as well as incredibly technical. And so it made sense to sell the water system to ensure that our residents had safe water at their taps for the future. And along with that, we did have the foresight to really put together a great bidding process, and we obviously benefited economically from the sale. And one of the requirements of selling the system is that funds will be earmarked to pay off any debt that Allendale has accumulated, and we will do so at the earliest opportunity for each of the financial bonds. Is that what they're called? Is that my term? So this is the first one that we will be able to pay off, and it's
amazing.
A great thing. So
absolutely
thanks
amazing
to everybody for your support, both the mayor, council, as well as the community,
and all the work that you did on it. We definitely appreciate it. Actually, the next one too is regarding ordinance 23-03, which is amending our borough code.
Yes, so I will speak on that. Is that since we've sold the water system, the ordinances that had to do with things that now Veolia will be managing, those need to be removed from our borough code. But we will, I think the notable thing to say that will remain in the borough code is that Allendale will have the opportunity to be able to ensure that should there be need for water restrictions due to environmental factors, drought, et cetera, that Allendale can and should put that into place as needed.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Another ordinance that we're introducing tonight is to amend and revise Chapter 26, which is the organization of our police department. Mike, did you want to speak quickly on that?
Sure. Thank you,
Chief.
Mayor. So, that ordinance modifies our composition of our department. And since we had hired some additional staff, both on a police officer level and also as a special law enforcement that's in our schools and completely reimbursed by the Board of Education, we're just bringing that ordinance up to speed to accurately reflect the current.
Perfect. Thank you, Chief Dillon. Next, we have our consent agenda. So these are routine items. We are actually having another fundraiser, the Allendale Women's Club. We're donating a Crestwood Lake membership. We have revised contract for GovPilot, which is the software system that we use for many of our activities at the admin office. So this is just another addition to that. And we have some contracts that we're awarding for our janitorial services as well as our grounds maintenance. I also, actually, no, this is not where my motion is. And our list of bills we have on here, and our finance committee has reviewed our list of bills.
Yes.
Perfect, thank you, and I have as well. And we might as well keep going because it's only 7:36. So any unfinished business that anybody has at this point? Any new business anybody has?
That's the word.
Oh.
Anybody you want.
Okay, so actually I will, I was gonna do that in the public comment,
That's
actually, yeah, okay. So then we have our staff reports. So, Councilman O'Connell, would you like to give your council report?
Thank you, Mayor.
You're welcome.
DPW, a new kitchen floor was installed at the clerk's office. We did several catch basins that had structural issues were rebuilt throughout the community. Let's see, several areas of fence along West Crescent in front of Crestwood Lake was repaired. Under the direction of Rich, the preparation of Crestwood has begun.
Ta-da.
That's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Councilman Delavatio.
Thank you, Mayor. So the Land Use Committee, we met on Thursday, February 9th. It was our second meeting as chair. The committee discussed a couple of the code issues that we had talked about at the first meeting about reviewing language and see if there's any changes, suggestions, or additions. We tabled the tree and the sign ordinance review, and we looked at the ancillary structure to add the wording for sheds to make it a little bit additional. So Anthony Hackett had agreed to give me a little write-up, a little suggested language to put into the code. I have not gotten that yet. We discussed a few property maintenance issues around town that Mike Leventola and Ron Kistner were going to address with the property owners. I did begin working on the applicant packet that discussed at the last meeting for the applicants who are going to be coming before the land use board. I did start working on that. In fact, we had a land use board meeting last week and did get a couple of good suggestions from one of the applicants' counsels on his way out. So I'm in the process of reviewing that, putting that together, and I hope to have something next month. That's it, Mayor. Thank you.
Perfect, thank you. Councilwoman Lovasolo.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. So the Finance Administration and HR Committee, we are currently still working on our budget, and we're up to version number 6 of our review process. Yay. Our former CFO, Alyssa, has been working closely with our new CFO, Allison, and it's been a really positive and seamless transition so far. In Allendale with Gina and Carol, and now Allison in our Finance and Tax Collection Office in Borough Hall, we really do, I think, have a quality team. We're still awaiting some final capital numbers from some of the departments, but we have our Finance Advisory Committee meeting comprised of Allendale residents on Monday, February 27th to get their first look at the budget, and I'm looking forward to my first meeting at that. The Green Team. I am the council liaison to Allendale's Green Team. Their next meeting will be Tuesday, March 7th, and our mayor will be joining us for part of that meeting, so that will be fun. Saturday, April 22nd is a tentative date for Allendale Environmental Day. If people remember, last year we had a styrofoam collection, an electronics collection, a clothing collection at the John Fell House. Mark, you might have to help me out here. We sold some composting bins and rain barrels, and so we're looking forward to another great town event this year. I'm also on the library board with the mayor, and we had a very comprehensive meeting about a week ago. I'm looking forward to working with that dedicated group of board members. The library does have some things coming up, so I just kind of wanted to quickly go through those. So the library offers programs daily for all ages, including meditation, yoga, crafting sessions, nature lectures, cooking workshops, cooking workshops, and more.
Yeah, the chocolate tasting.
You did, I know. Last year, over 9,000 Allendale residents participated in 602 programs at the library at an average cost of only 95 cents per participant. Coming up, Bergen County's history has shaped not only the metropolitan area, but our nation itself. Authors Bob Nessoff and Arthur Cohn will be at the library on March 23rd to discuss their new book, A History Lover's Guide to Bergen County, a fascinating look at area historic sites and the stories behind them. Unfortunately, I don't think Allendale is included in that book, but just an
Well, maybe we
FYI.
should have a
Maybe they'll
conversation with
do
the
an
authors
editing version at
when we
some
see
point.
them.
Yeah. Every Saturday in March, the Allendale Ambulance Corps, in partnership with the library, invites residents ages 16 and older to a free 1-hour CPR class. Residents will receive expert instruction and hands-on practice in the life-saving skill of adult-child hands-only CPR. Dazzling historic mansions and gardens is a visual tour through notable estates and horticultural wonders within easy driving distance of Allendale, and will be presented by art history instructor and New Jersey Council for the Humanities lecturer Barbara Ferranti on March 30th. Farm Chicks is a touring educational and recreational petting zoo program for young people, and it will bring many lively animals on site for 4 unique programs throughout the month of March on critter care and the responsibilities of pet ownership. And the library will celebrate Read Across America on March 2nd with the Dr. Seuss A Celebration reading party for youngsters and their adult companions. And in about 10 days, every household in Allendale will receive, through the mail, a guide to the products, services, and professionals of Lee Memorial Library, including details of how many new offerings are available to all cardholders. So please keep an eye on your mailbox, and this will be your monthly reminder to go get your library card if you've not already done so.
Say that at the end of every meeting.
Yeah.
So we all have our cards. Excellent. Thank you so much. Councilwoman Homan.
Hello, yes.
Hello.
So we talked a little bit about water already and the progress there, so I think that's good. Our legal team, really, I'm not involved as much in the legal aspect, is working continuously with Veolia to execute the transfers appropriately of all the land and the easements that we need to in order to have the final escrow monies deposited with us. And on a completely separate note, I was not at the last council meeting because I was up at the high school. It was pasta night up at the high school, Pasta Mania up at the high school for the Sports Association, but also at that time, the Upper Saddle River Allendale Alliance had a table there. So I had the opportunity to work that table, which was
Okay.
nice. Yeah. So that's my report. We are going to have a water meeting scheduled for this coming Friday at 4 p.m. That will be March the 3rd.
Oh, that's a big day. Lots of stuff, lots of meetings that day.
Yes. 4 p.m. though, so towards the end of the day.
Yeah. Councilman O'Toole.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mayor. Not a tremendous report this evening. Our next Public Safety Committee meeting is going to be March 7th. We're already filling up the agenda. And apart from our regular agenda items, we're going to be discussing some traffic hotspots around town. Our new parking app is just about ready to go live. We'll be utilizing an app instead of the parking meters in the transit lot. So Chief Dillon's been working on that. Next steps is going to be some signage and aligning of the ground. The anticipated start date of our new SLEO is March 3rd. Our 2 police officer recruits are doing very well in the academy. We're using new technology to identify speed areas in town where there's a problem. Police department is working closely with school districts and local private schools to improve security measures. Finally, the Office of Emergency Management has reimbursement applications for both Tropical Storm Ida as well as COVID. These 2 disaster declarations resulted in $141,172.21 in reimbursements to the borough.
Wow,
So
that's
thanks
amazing.
to Chief Dillon.
Thanks for all that work,
And
Director Kistner and Chief Dillon.
that's all I got. Thank you.
Councilman Yakarino.
Thank you, Mayor. We had our last facilities meeting, last Thursday. Looks like we're going to continue with the, third Thursday of the month going forward. Amy, Ron, and I, we met at Crestwood earlier this week, to meet with two vendors. One to look at refurbishing our tennis court, and some improvements to the area around the band shell, as well as some other things we may look to spruce up later this year. As we mentioned prior, Crestwood season, we're starting to begin that. We saw Richie out there getting ready the docks. So that's really a work in
We
progress
did.
so far. We had, as Ed mentioned in his report, we had the new kitchen floor installed downstairs this past Monday in the clerk's office. We're also continuing to look at a new informational sign for outside. I just started to get some quotes for that for us to consider. Some other things we're looking at is some access control improvements and then other minor interior renovations to Borough Hall. Also, Amy, as you mentioned, the agenda review, we had the janitorial services contract and also the commercial landscaping contract approved from the bids. And other than that, our next meeting will be March 16th, not next
Excellent.
Thursday. That's all I have. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. I'll quickly do my mayor's report. Again, the New Jersey Anchor Program, homeowners with certain income restrictions can get a New Jersey tax rebate for up to $1,500. The application is on our website and the deadline is February 28th. 220 West Crescent was completely demoed, so now the contractors are busy getting their permits and they will soon commence the footings, and actually, which will be part of our building too, because we have a zero lot line, which basically means our buildings are touching. So our footings actually will be, some of them will be put in as well. So it's a little bit of a start of our building. We will have updates on the building of 220 regularly. So we'll be up there and we'll make sure that we give everybody updates, weekly especially, or even more as the fun stuff happens. So we're really looking forward to building a community center, and Hampshire will be building their 70 units behind it. Starting March 13th, our compost badges go on sale. And the municipal class, so we attended a municipal class, Councilman Yakarino, Councilman Delawitio, and myself, and actually Director Kistner was there as well. Went to a municipal class. It's always good to brush up on some of the new laws, some things that are happening in New Jersey. It was actually quite a packed house, and it was an all-day meeting, but we did actually get a couple new tips and things that we will be implementing. Other than that, I've been going to lots and lots of meetings. Nobody told me about that. So, yeah, lots of meetings, but they're all great. I really enjoy going to all the meetings. The library meeting, as Suzanne said, was great. So, just very happy. Everything's humming along. And yes, we did visit Crestwood Lake, and we're starting with the preparations. So get ready. So now we will do our staff reports, and we'll start with Linda, our clerk.
Mayor.
You're welcome.
Karina Yossi of the clerk's office put in her resignation as she accepted another job offer closer to home. I wish her the best. She didn't put a date in. However, she verbally told me March 8th.
Okay, thank you.
So that leaves the clerk's office short-staffed until we find a replacement. But I think we'll be okay.
Mhm.
The Bergen County Municipal Clerks had a meeting today and also tomorrow to go over election materials for the upcoming primary election. So I will be there tomorrow morning for that. Registration for compost permit go on sale March 13th, and the compost facility opens April 2nd. Crestwood Lake registration only opens April 17th. And to date, the clerk's office processed and licensed roughly 249 dogs and 17 cats for the borough of Allendale. The clerk's office will have a late night on April 27th until 7 p.m. to accommodate our residents in processing Crestwood Lake registration and other licenses and permits given out from the clerk's office. John Gill will advertise on the website and or the newsletter for that. Other than that, on a personal note, this Saturday, I will be again participating in the Polar Bear Plunge in Seaside for the New Jersey Special Olympics. Special Olympics New Jersey is a nonprofit organization that provides sports training and athletic competition to children and adults with intellectual disabilities statewide. It's a great fundraiser, and this is one event I love being part of, as I have been volunteering my time as a basketball coach for Special Olympics for about 6 years.
That's amazing.
That's
Good for you.
awesome.
Good for
Congrats.
you.
There may be another polar bear next year.
Yeah.
We want pictures. We definitely want pictures. Our Director of Communications, John Gill, do you have anything?
No report.
Okay, thank you. Director Ron Kistner. And sure.
Property maintenance, Inspector Michael Natoli, the mayor and myself met with representative of the Azarian Group last week to discuss the condition of the shopping center, the Acme Shopping Center. So far, the things we discussed, I'm not seeing action on it. Actually coming in Sunday. We're gonna be down sure on Saturday. He's getting an email advising him that, yeah, we made some suggestions. Since he hasn't addressed those suggestions are now going to turn into a notice of violation. So they'll be going out on Sunday or Monday for a day of business. Unfortunately, we did have another departure in our employment staff. Construction code official Anthony Hackett has moved on. I want to thank him. He was a professional, did a great job for the community. Again, one of the reasons I'm coming in Sunday, I am interviewing a very viable replacement for Anthony, and I'm looking forward to that. We do have coverage. I've worked some arrangements out with some very competent plumbing and subcode officials in neighboring communities, so we are covered. We had an incident the other day at the Acme Shopping Center, and one of those inspectors did show up and cover it. Anthony, as I said, was a very true professional. I'm meeting Anthony and our borough engineer, Mike Freeland, at 7:30 tomorrow morning for our other meeting to just finalize some stuff, including some of the larger projects, permits where we stand for the permits. Had an excellent lunch meeting with the executive board, or some of the executive board members of the Allendale Recreation Committee. Very enthusiastic, very competent group. We work very well with them. As long as they, Mr. West didn't jinx me and it doesn't snow, we are planning to start renovating, rehabbing the fields, the ball fields, the middle of March. So we're ready to go on that. We're also gonna have a seminar for the coaches on how to maintain the fields. And I did place a $4,000 order before I came here this evening for the paint and the red paint. Prices really jumped up a little bit on this paint.
Everything.
Just 20 cases of white, 10 cases of red, over $4,000. Amazing.
Crazy.
As Councilman Yakarina said, I got some calls in for we discussed. We put a automatic reader system here now that we're staying, a reader system for the exterior doors and the interior doors for the well-being and safety. Now we can read this way, we don't need keys. We'll have more control. You guys know, I've managed a lot of buildings over the years, and this way, we can, control, who comes and goes. We'll know when they come in. We can give people, sort of like there's a meeting, we give them access that night from 6 to 10 or something, and then they get the access anymore. So we're working on that. The public service, you'll see the contract is on West Allendale today. That's the bare steel replacement project. It's a good project. It's a hectic project. What they do is they replace the steel that's very old with a more efficient type of piping, and then they'll also run laterals off that main to the home, so more efficient and better service for our residents. We're in week 12 of the project. John Gill's been great. Public service, nobody, tenants, and we, as the residents, we back it up with, weekly reports, updates on that on the website. What's good about that is also with, I've had some dealings with this project in past in other communities, and I will be dealing with public service in their engineering department, and they do, if it's twisting a little arm, they'll pave a lot of roads for us. They like to do half roads only, but then they come to understand it's curb to curb.
Good.
That'll be, I'll tell that in April. So, that's my report, Mayor.
Thank you very much. Chief Mike Dillon.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. To continue to address some facility issues with Assistant Director of Operations Ron Kistner, working with Public Safety Committee preparing a fiscally responsible capital budget. addressing supply chain issues and inflation with police vehicles and vehicle
Mm.
parts. There is truly a shortage of fleet vehicles. I was on the phone today with a dealership in Texas and finally located a car that we were looking for in Niagara Falls, New York.
Wow.
Worked with the new CFO to secure some purchasing rules for that. I've been assisting the fire chief, continue to work closely in a supportive role, assisting with a variety of issues and tasks. I submitted one grant application for fire equipment and working on another grant for recruitment and retention. This is in addition to a grant that we were awarded, $22,000 for firefighter protective equipment.
Excellent. Thank you very much. And Borough Attorney Ray West.
Thank you, Mayor. As Councilwoman Holman mentioned, the water utility sale is in a different phase than it was before. We have regularly scheduled meetings with Veolia's council, and then we also have regularly scheduled meetings with our special counsel Ryan Skirbo, our engineer Mike Breland, and Ron Kistner and I. We are finally getting to a point, and we had to do a little pushing, frankly, Veolia, because we need their survey work done before we can record the easements and therefore get the balance of the escrow returned to us. But finally, I think, Ron, we got them to a stage where they're actually underway in the field. As I think I mentioned last time, because of the age of the system, there are multiple instances where we obviously know that there is a water utility infrastructure there, but it has not been marked out or has not been surveyed. So we need the Veolia people to go out in the field, do that first, then we can prepare the instrument to record the easement, and we can get a further release of money. So that's an ongoing, but I think finally in a more active stage. We're working with Chief Dillon in the clerk's office on OPRA requests, also with the chief on some departmental matters, including some of the ordinances that are on tonight's agenda, with Linda obviously on ordinances and resolutions, with Ron on some land use and property maintenance matters, and as I reported last time, we thought that we would probably have the Allendale Senior Housing transaction concluded by the end of this month. And we're going to have to eat some of those words and move it into March. That's it, Mayor.
Excellent. Thank you very much. So that is the end of our work session. Can I have a motion and a second to end the work session?
So moved, Holman.
Second, Lucio.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Welcome to the Mayor and Council meeting. It is 8 o'clock. This is our regular session, February 23rd, 2023. Can you please call to order the meeting and read the Open Public Meeting Act and roll call, please?
In compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act, the notice requirements have been satisfied. The meeting dates for the year are confirmed at the annual meeting, are posted on the public bulletin board in the municipal building and on the borough website, published in the record within the first 10 days of the new year, and copies are sent to the Ridgewood News and Star Ledger. Notice of this meeting by the February 13th, 2023 Sunshine Notice was sent to the record, the Ridgewood News and Star Ledger, and has been posted on the public bulletin board in the municipal building and borough website. Councilwoman Homan,
Here.
Councilwoman Lovasolo,
Here.
Councilman O'Connell,
Here.
Councilman O'Toole,
Here.
Councilman Yakarino,
Here.
Councilman Delavatio,
Here.
Mayor Wozinski.
Here. Would you please salute the flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Now we have a public comment, please, on agenda items only. Anybody from the public like to speak on the agenda? Come on up. State your name and address for the record, please.
Mark Savastano, 22 Greenwood Place, representing the Mayor and Council. With regard to the ordinance 2303, I just read it from the paperwork that was provided here. And I was wanting to make a comment on 26(2)(8) regarding curtailment for use of water. I think that it would be a good idea to include some wording that this is in reference to borough supplying water. So that if somebody purchases a rain barrel and wants to wash their car, I'm sorry, that's doing that's
So
dash 8, I'm sorry, yes. It's the same of the use of water. That it should be referencing borough supplied water. So that if somebody has water from some other source, they shouldn't be prevented or fined for washing their car or performing any other thing that they would like to do with that water. So if I'm catching water from my roof and using it. it
And
doesn't
how-
make any distinction.
How do you propose that someone be able to, I mean, I'm gonna say the reason why we restrict car washing is because generally people do use some sort of force to get it off. If you're at like, so I
What
don't,
I do is I fill a bucket.
Well, can I just interject? Isn't the preface for letter A, if for any reason it shall appear that the water supply system is unable to furnish it? Doesn't that, Mark, address what you're concerned about? This is system water.
I'm sorry, where is it? I'm sorry.
You're looking at 262.8, curtailment of water?
Yeah, and where's it?
A, if it shall appear that for any reason the water supply system is or may be unable to furnish water.
Yes, but then it doesn't make a distinction when you're using water, what the source of that water is. Further down in the paragraph, it just says that you can prohibit, partially prohibit or limit the certain hours the use of water. It doesn't say where the source of that.
Yeah, but I think that covers it in that first sentence.
and we've
actually.
never, I mean, there's always been people that have, honestly, we can't control well water, people's personal wells. And so it's implemented by the Borough Police Department. So I don't think there's any necessity to,
Yeah, and that's the intention of it, is that it's the water supply system. That's the intention. So,
I understand that. I just found it odd that, or a possible misconstruence by somebody is going to be fined for using water that is not coming from the system.
Yeah.
Okay.
thank you.
But also then, with respect to filling of pools, there's no minimum for what constitutes a pool. It says of more than 10,000 gallons, but it doesn't say what pool is. No person shall fill a pool between October 1st and March 31st. And it also states that, from the public water supply, but it doesn't state what a pool is or what a minimum that constitutes a pool. So when would that actually be prohibited from happening?
I'm sorry, I don't really understand your question. Like what would somebody be filling?
but it says here the 10,000 gallons. So there's like, they're giving you the capacity for the pool.
Okay. And then,
Is there something specific that you're concerned about that we're somehow?
no, only that it seems to be open-ended and not specifically, prohibit a certain thing as a minimum. It says you can't fill a pool. And then
Having a
at the top
capacity
it
of
says-
more than 10,000 gallons.
At the top it says shall fill a pool having a capacity of 10,000 gallons. And then at the bottom it says shall fill a pool. And I'm not sure about legality if that paragraph covers the same specific statement in the first sentence and the last. But it just seemed like it was very open-ended, just like in my first sentence. But it was just my observation.
So in our code, there is a whole section on swimming pools that kind of defines what swimming pools are.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not gonna read the whole thing right now, but it might be more tightly kind of delineated there in section 270-32.
Okay.
Thank you. All right. Anybody else on agenda items only? All right, next we have our approval of minutes. We have the January 19th work and regular session minutes, the January 19th closed session minutes, and the February 9th work and regular session minutes. And I have a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved. Yakarino.
And a second.
Second, O'Toole.
Okay, roll call please.
Councilwoman Holman,
So I will approve the January, but not the February. I will abstain from the February.
Thank you.
Okay, Councilwoman Lovasolo,
Yes.
Councilman O'Connell,
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Toole,
Yes.
Councilman Yakarino,
Yes.
Councilman Delavatio.
I vote yes, but I abstain from the January 19th work session because I wasn't a councilman yet.
Get it? Got it right? All right. Next, we have our second reading and our public hearing for,
I'm sorry, the closed session minutes have to be approved separately. Voted on separately.
okay. So, do I have a motion for the approval of the January 19th closed session minutes?
So moved.
Second, please?
Second.
Okay. Roll call.
Councilwoman Homan,
Yes.
Councilwoman Lovasolo,
Yes.
Councilman O'Connell,
Yes.
Councilman O'Toole,
Yes.
Councilman Yakarino,
Yes.
Councilman Delavatio.
Yes.
We're good? That's okay. Next, we have the second reading and the public hearing, for ordinance 23-02 that we discussed in the, work session. Do you want to read
The
that?
following ordinance published herewith was first read by title only on February 9th, 2023, and posted on the bulletin board of the lobby of the municipal building and borough website. Ordinance 23-02, an ordinance to amend, supplement, and revise Chapter 26-31D of the Borough Code of the Borough of Allendale.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Councilwoman Homan,
Yes.
Councilwoman Lovasolo,
Yes.
Councilman O'Connell,
Yes.
Councilman O'Toole,
Yes.
Councilman Yakarino,
Yes.
Councilman Delavatio.
Yes.
Okay, next we pulled this resolution up because it was very important, so we'd like to vote on resolution 23-95, which is the resolution for authorizing the economic defeasance and refunding of various borough funds from the proceeds of the Allendale water system. Do I have a motion?
Holman.
Yay.
Second.
Second O'Toole.
Councilwoman Homan,
Yes.
Councilwoman Lovasolo,
Yes.
Councilman O'Connell,
Yes.
Councilman O'Toole,
Yes.
Councilman Yakarino,
Yes.
Councilman Delavatio.
Yes.
Excellent. Okay, next we have our introduction of our ordinance. A motion of the following ordinance will be introduced and passed on first reading. The setting is March 9th for the public portion of this ordinance, and it is ordinance 23-03. Can you read the ordinance, please?
Ordinance 23-03, an ordinance to amend and revise Chapter 262 of the Borough Code of the Borough of Allendale entitled Water. Motion.
Do I have a motion?
So moved, Holman.
Second?
Second.
Councilwoman Homan,
Yes.
Councilwoman Lovasolo,
Yes.
Councilman O'Connell,
Yes.
Councilman O'Toole,
Yes.
Councilman Yakarino,
Yes.
Councilman Delavatio.
Yes.
Okay, and we have a second introduction, ordinance 23-04. Can you please read that?
Ordinance 23-04, an ordinance to amend, supplement, and revise Chapter 26 entitled Establishment, Composition, Table of Organization, Chief of Police, Director of Public Safety, Vacancies and Duties of the Borough Code of the Borough of Allendale.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Councilwoman Homan,
Yes.
Councilwoman Lovasolo,
Yes.
Councilman O'Connell,
Yes.
Councilman O'Toole,
Yes.
Councilman Yakarino,
Yes.
Councilman Delavatio.
Yes.
Thank you. Next, we have our consent agenda that we reviewed. I would actually just like to add something to the consent agenda, a motion to also approve allowing resident to tie blue ribbons around our trees in our downtown to raise awareness for colon cancer next week. And then the rest of the consent agenda. Do I have a motion to approve?
Holman.
Second. Lovasolo.
Councilwoman Homan,
Yes.
Councilwoman Lovasolo,
Yes.
Councilman O'Connell,
Yes.
Councilman O'Toole,
Yes.
Councilman Yakarino,
Abstain on 23-103, vote yes on the balance.
Councilman Delavatio.
Yes.
Alrighty, so we have gone through our unfinished business, new business. We went through our committee reports and our staff reports. So next is public comment section. Does anybody from the audience have anything that they'd like to speak to? Come on up, Walter.
Walter was at 38 Hamilton. I noticed in the reports that the tennis court was mentioned. And I'm just curious as to your assessment of the word tennis court. I realize in town we have 2 courts up by Crestwood Lake. I played in them. They're totally unacceptable. They're acceptable as possible for learning the game children play on. But if anybody is a good player, unacceptable. The only thing that's a saving grace is the fact that we, members of Allendale, can use the high school. I use the high school courts every single weekend, all winter long. And they, of course, it's a blessing to us that we have access to it. And I just want to ask that question. Do you consider the courts in our town acceptable to be played on by a good player?
I wouldn't know how to define good
I was
player,
just gonna
Walter.
say, everything's relative, Walter, but listen, Walter, we will keep you up to date. At the time when we were redoing those tennis courts with the grant and the money that we had and the need for it in the town, that is what we put in and it sufficed. At this point, we are reevaluating that area. There's a lot of underwater streams. There's a lot of engineering that has to be done. So we're reevaluating the area and we'll let you know if it is going to be, worth it for the town of Allendale to pursue putting in what you would probably call proper courts.
But there is the high school, and I think that's an
Yeah,
amazing
that's a
option.
saving grace, and that's a blessing, it really is. But what may be called a tennis court in Allendale for birds. They're terrible.
Thank you, Walter.
Anybody's any good, you can't play in them. Just want a little information.
Anybody else from the public? Mark?
Here, 22, Mark Savastano, 22 Breathing Place. I just wanted to add a little bit to what Suzanne had said about the green team. John, I had mentioned to you about possibly getting that information about the electronics recycling. And we would like to get authorization to purchase additional compost bins because we're almost at them. Somebody picked one up just today or was delivered by Jim Strouch, I should say. So we're down to the last 2 bins. So I think we purchased 20 last year. And I would like to do the same.
Where do we store them, actually? Do we have a spot?
The Fell House Barn.
Oh, okay.
We have the one on display downstairs and the rest are staying at the barn. And I believe Jim said we have 6 rain barrels left
Okay.
and they don't sell us.
Okay.
And also I had mentioned in an email just today, I believe it was, about the Ridgewood densifier demo. I arranged with the Bergen Hub to have another demonstration of their styrofoam densifier.
Okay.
And if anybody is available tomorrow at noon, he will be doing a demonstration. And
Take a video. You should take a video.
Yeah, could you?
Where's the location?
I would like to see it.
I would too.
I can't get there.
I can't
but
either.
yeah, the video will be helpful. It's at the Ridgewood DPW yard. And it so happened that somebody had sent an email to the green team asking if they could recycle. So I reached out to him because they were adding material to do a demo. He had just.
Oh, perfect timing.
So, yeah, thankfully, somebody delivered it right before I came today. And that's it. Thank you.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you.
Alrighty. Anybody, not seeing anybody else? I have a request to read a statement from resident Jim Thomas. Quote, Mayor, the redevelopment plan gives Hampshire the right to construct the borough's new building, and I add to profit financially thereby. At the closing of 2 properties, 3.5 million of the sale price was put into escrow. Those funds to be released to Hampshire as it reported construction progress. Now Marcia Stoltz's story in the February 15th edition of the Town Journal implies that the borough will have to hire a private contractors to construct our new building. That is welcome news. You deserve the gratitude of all interested residents for taking action. Question: when will those escrow funds be released to the borough? The escrow funds were released to the borough when we closed on the property in December, Mr. Thomas. And I also, though, just wanted to make a correction because in our redevelopment plan, it does state that the borough will be building our own building. And it was an amendment to the redevelopment plan, but all along, Hampshire was not actually making a profit from it. We always had our own estimate, and we had say on who the contractor was going to be. So it wasn't that they were just taking the money and they were actually going to be building something and making a profit. That was never in the any of the documents, the purchase and sale, as well as the redevelopment plan. So I just wanted to make that correction and assure you that the 3.5 or the balance of that is actually deposited already in December. Thank you.
Thank you.
You are welcome. Okay, so I think that is it. Motion to adjourn.
So moved, Holman.
Second, O'Connell.
All in favor?
Yeah.
Aye.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.